Peace, peace. It's the Dark Ages right here. I'm back with another video. I couldn't do it on my other phone because my storage is full, so I'm doing it on here. This album review that I want to get off my chest right now. There's this album right here that inspired me to be who I want to, be or whatever. Flatliners USA album. Just got this in the mail today. USA stands for Undersaying's Authority, for those who don't know. For those of you who never heard of this group, this is the group that spawned the term horrorcore. Horrorcore, you know what I mean? This group in the Flatliners. And there's been a lot of debates on who started horrorcore and this and this and that. I did a video in 2019, you know what I mean, of the term, so I'm going to say this one last time. Before it was called horrorcore, it was just psycho raps and shit, you know. With Gangsta Nip and the Ghetto Boys and Esham and all that. He had his acid rap thing going on, and Esham said it in his video that he didn't start the term horrorcore. It came from the Flatliners, you know what I mean? But this album that, spawned away, which featured the Headless Horseman and Rockwilder, production handled by some of the members from Flatliners and DR Period and Rockwilder. But this album and like the Headless Horseman, like I said before, spawned the wave of this shit. And they got Headless Horseman got an EP. You know what I'm saying? That's like rare from 94, 93 or whatever. Classic EP banger, you know what I mean? But this is the album, you know what I mean? That kind of sparked a lot of controversy, you know what I mean, with the term. Because they had the singles Live Evil and Satanic Verses. In the Rivers of Red video, but Live Evil and Satanic Verses were the two that kind of sparked it with Red Rum rhyming from a noose or whatever. And, Gravedigger rhyming from a cross or whatever. I was into the Satanic Verses video. The band members are, Gravedigger, Red Rum, and Tempest. But I'm going to break this a little story down for you, right? I know Gravedigger Pops, his Pops. He's in the Essence right now, rest in peace. But I know his Pops from this program that I used to go to in Rockaway called Freedom Village, and I sparked a conversation with somebody in there about the horrorcore genre, and he said he knew he knew the Flatliners. I'm like, you know the Flatliners? And I was just like, okay, I wasn't knocking him. I was just like, okay, whatever. So, he told me the names, Red Rum and Gravedigger. I was like, wow. And he was like, Gravedigger, that's his son. So I was like, wow. And I wanted a copy of this album so bad, I nagged him about giving me a copy of the first album or whatever. Because he let me hear some of his son's stuff, before I even knew. He said he got a son that rhymes, but I didn't know he knew them like that. You know what I'm saying? Because he changed his rap name or whatever. But Flatliners came back 20 years later, whatever they did. They got a couple of EP albums out right now, but just had to start back off with this album right here. Had to go fresh back from the beginning, you know what I mean? I have the CD in my hands, thanks to the seller that sold me this album from Discogs, you know what I mean? Enough respect, you know what I mean? So, enough respect to him, but just had to do a review on this album right here. See, the artwork look crazy and shit. The singles on here were Live Evil, Satanic Verses, and Rivers of Red, but the two singles that spawned off that had a little shot controversy, as I said, was Satanic Verses, Live Evil. So actually, I'm around, I live in the Cypress Hill area. I'm in the shelter in the Cypress Hill area of Brooklyn right now. Across the street is like the graveyard or whatever, right across the street from Highland Park. And that Cypress Hill graveyard is the same cemetery that they did the video for Live Evil. You know what I'm saying? A couple of blocks up. And it's a big cemetery out here, so it's like, I'm thinking of their music when I be passing by there sometimes. So I had to get this album back, you know what I mean? Classic album. The producers on here are DR Period and Rockwilder and I think Tempest from the group that, you know, made the album for what it was, you know what I mean? If you look at Red Rum and the leather face mask or whatever in his own version of leather face mask, that's dope and original right there, you know what I mean? The tracks, you know, the Reptilian Eye. This album sold less from 900,000 copies, you know what I mean? So, there's a CD right here. Here's the group again right here. They were wearing masks and shit, hiding their identity. You know what I mean? And, get this shit right here. It's the bones and shit. You see them chilling right here by the campfire. It's a Reptilian Eye again right here. You know what I mean? The shout outs, the tracks, and these are in my head. These are in my head. Album cover, classic album cover, right? So, like I said, rest in peace to Grave Digger's Pops, you know what I mean? I always think of him when I listen to the Flatliners now or whatever. It's kind of sparked me into it when I was writing mad rhymes too, in the horrorcore world, just dabbling with different groups and stuff like that. Not much I could say, but it's a dope album. It's a must-have for your collection. If you're a deep horrorcore fan like me or whatever. There's not too many horrorcore rappers I listen to anymore. You know what I mean? I already heard the Necros and Hillbills and all of that shit. Mr. Morbid, you know, certain cast that I'm feeling when I'm in the zone. So, Headless Horseman EP, I wish I had in my hands right now. Talk more about them a little bit, but they featured on the track Satanic Verses. It's a crazy album, man. It's a crazy album. My favorite tracks on here is Good Day to Die, Scariest, Flatline was cool, but my favorite is Sonic Boom, Taking Them Underground, Graveyard Nightmare, Rivers of Red, and of course, Warzone, Satanic Verses, and Live Evil. But this album spawned it all, man. Spawned it all. You know what I mean? Around 94, good year, you know, for it to come out the way it did. And all I can say is it was on the soundtrack for this movie called The Fear. For those of you who have never seen that horror movie called The Fear with this wooden guy that's like a zombie or whatever. And he becomes a good guy after that, but it's kind of a weird movie. But the soundtrack was pretty dope. It had like one R&B track on there. I'm going to get that back too. But it had Esham, ICP, Headless Horseman, Flatliners, and Half Pit, Half Dead, all these other groups that didn't really made it, like the group Half Pit, Half Dead. For those who don't know, they made a video called Better Off Dead, which was on the soundtrack, and they had like a single called I'm Never Coming Home or whatever, the remix and the original. And it was like two rappers and shit. They had like one black dude in the Better Off Dead video or whatever. And they had this compilation group that was going to come out called Army from Hell, you know what I mean? Which consists of Infrared, this white reggae singer called, you know, not Infrared, Machete, this white reggae singer, you know, called Machete or whatever. Then they had this Spanish, you know, rapper named Infrared. And, you know, there's a track on there called Infrared's Terror, crazy track, you know what I'm saying? It was just too many, you know what I mean? So the genre didn't really spark off the way it would have when ICP popularized it and commercialized it, you know, and it became what it was, you know what I mean? You got all these rappers now named Mars and all that, but I go back, you know what I mean, in the time with this album right here. This album is a must-have for those who are truly hip-hop fans or whatever. That's all new heads that's just learning about hardcore. Pick this up along with the Grave Diggers and Ellis Horseman or whatever, and add this to your collection. You know what I mean? So, enough respect, and till next video. You know what I'm saying? See y'all when I see y'all. I'm going. Peace.